Ladies and gentlemen, you are now listening to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. Cross the line in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Talking Nonsense About Impact Wrestling podcast. My name is Geoff, and it's a very special episode. We're right after Hard to Kill. We were going to do this live. Unforeseen Alex Shelley-like circumstances. We weren't able to, but we are doing this live.
Our producer has COVID.
Don't say that. I don't know if Craig wants everyone to know that. It's live.
Unforeseen circumstances.
Well, we love you, Craig. Mr. Impact Blog, get well soon. We'll keep you updated, but he's doing well. He's young and spry.
We're not going live without our third member. That's just,
It's depressing. That's why this is live to tape. We are Impact style.
You can't be 3 live crew and then go live with only 2 of you for the first time. It doesn't work like that. Yeah, but not when you're 3 live crew.
Fair enough.
That's what I'm saying. So
you're not. Well, before I was rudely interrupted by the Conan to my. I want to be R-Truth, I think. Yeah. No, you're the BG James. You'll be the BG James to.
Okay with that. I like him.
You would. So, anyways, well, you know what? I was gonna be rude, especially since you have your hero behind you, Crimson, who I love.
I'm assuming the people can see this. Hopefully, they can, because.
We're working this out, guys. That's one of the things. This one's going to be have all our little gimmicks and breaks. We're just going to go through Hard to Kill, have a good time, and go and get practicing. We're really transparent on the show, no matter if it's our opinions or feelings or analysis, or it's how bad our production is at the moment. But we're working on it just so we can continue with the plan of going live 7:30 to 9. Each Saturday night live. It'll be fun. We'll get there. Get well soon, Craig.
With this that may come as a surprise to some of our fans, but we are not technical wizards.
Oh, right.
I know that I know people have seen our production value. They assume that we have a multi-billion-dollar company behind us putting this together, but we're actually just 2 dudes. One of us runs it off his phone.
And the same one is sitting in very short shorts in Indian style right now.
That still could be either one of us. So,
Donald Duck. I said Indian style shorts. All right. Anyways, so I'm going to stick with my normal thing, despite the Crimson stuff. So despite that we are not live, I'll still go with what I was going to say. He is the Matt Cardona to my Brian Myers. Everyone, it's Max. Max is back. What's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, everybody? That's a potentially mildly average tag team.
Yeah, maybe. I think they'll be better this time around. We won't jump ahead. We'll get to everything. Stick with us because we'll talk about everything from each match and the results to the production to where we think people will go and come and if we were surprised by anything, including a Matt Cardona arrival. I loved his trunk colors, though. Very Mighty Ducks. That was really cool.
Yeah. New Mighty Ducks movie coming out, by the way. Or TV show coming out, by the way.
TV show. Yeah, Emilio's back, and that's all that matters. Then we're good. So yeah, let's start from the beginning where it started. Let's start with the first match, which they actually said DK, calling Rosemary and Crazy Steve, much to the mention of Matt Striker for the first time in 4 years. Incredible that they've been referred to that, and then coming down the ring together. I popped pretty easy and quickly for that. So they of course face your favorite duo and the influencers of Daniil Dashwood and Caleb with a K, or Suicide with an S, as I like to say.
I love that name. Such a good name.
It is good, man. It is good. And they're finally finding, obviously we watched together. We kind of bantered and bullshitted during it. And why didn't we film that? Because it's inappropriate. And that shouldn't be, and shouldn't be graded. But this is our more PG ish 13 analysis, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, I guess.
Not that it would be rated X. Never. Anyways, let's move on. So the match itself was the match itself. I think you started off great just because from a production value, they went straight with two great put together packages of Decay and then Tennille, the influencers, we'll call them that. So it looked good. They all looked good coming out. It felt big. It felt like a big thing. The camera production from the beginning was good, so we weren't seeing any skips or any little things that we normally would see. And maybe that's a credit to Josh Matthews now being on the production side. But with that being said, we had two new announcers, so it felt different. They piped in some noise, which I saw some people wishy-washy about online. But to that, I say I think everyone will complain about something.
Piped in noise, I don't mind. I've been watching NFL football all year, and they pipe in noise because even if you know there's nobody in the crowd, right, still hearing something, I guess I'm trying to think of the way. Just gives you a sense of normal. It gives you a sense of normalcy, even though you know there's nobody in the crowd. If you hear some type of noise, it just makes things seem normal, as opposed to you just hearing dead silence and like all the little weird things. So I don't mind piped in noise.
No, I don't, in the sense of this. I talked about it in our group, and I think I mentioned it on the Twitter feed during the pay-per-view. Or maybe I didn't. I don't know. It's been a long night in the treehouse. Yeah, right. Anyway, the piped in noise. It wasn't the issue of the piped in noise. I actually appreciate that they went out of their way to do it just to make it feel bigger, like a big event that it could be. In switching the commentary as well, as much as I do like Josh and I love Madison, audibly it was more smooth and knowledgeable not knowledgeable. They're both, their wrestling knowledge. I just mean in the sense of it focused more on the match compared to the storyline. And when it did bring the storyline, it really got you excited about what they were selling. And it felt really, and I'll dig into this. Sorry to the match, but it felt very Mike Tenay, Don West to me, in the sense that, D'Lo wasn't perfect. But he knew what to do, and he knew what part what his role was. And I think that's been the problem with a lot of the commentators as of late, like the two or the 3-man crew. Sometimes people don't know their roles or don't want their roles, or they keep switching roles, and it just doesn't sound nice and smooth on the ears. But these guys really bought in. Matt Stryker, obviously the storyteller, the narrator, tells you the moves, and obviously D'Lo, the color commentator, ex-wrestler, which I really appreciate. They went that route with him, saying, "Hey, this is D'Lo Brown." I think it's a pretty household name. He's going to tell you from the wrestling aspect of it. I'm going to tell you from the story.
I liked both of them. I thought they were good. Mad props to Impact after, D'Lo tried to overthrow the company with aces and eights, that they were nice enough to let him back in and make him a commentator, because you never know when he's going to bring his boys back. And so it's really nice of him to give him a job. All right, cool. Trying to just live in the moment. But no, I really liked both of them. I thought they were really good. I thought they sounded good together. It's going to sound weird. Sometimes when you have people commentating, the voices don't mesh well. There's something about the sounds of it. And I thought they sounded clean together. Like you said, wasn't perfect, but obviously I think as they do more things, it'll continue to grow. Unless you're bringing in two top-notch guys who have been doing this forever, you don't expect to be perfect their first go.
Yeah, and I think that's more so with D'Lo than his Stryker. I guess, ring rust, if you want to call it that, for Stryker could have occurred as well. But he was smooth, fresh off his baby making a nut in a cup show. He's a reality star. Now he's on Impact Star. But you could tell, Stryker loves wrestling, and he's comfortable being there, and is still that little kid talking about wrestling as if, still that little kid. And I really enjoy that. And it is. They're smooth together. It's nice. It's different. And I'm happy that Josh got a promotion. And I'm also happy that management kind of pulled that plug and said, look, man, we love you, Josh. You need to stay with the company. You've done a lot for us, which he has. No one could take that away from him. And to a whole generation, he will be the voice of Impact. This is what it is, for better or worse. But it's time to move on. You're one of eliminate the complaints and put our agents in places. And
there's
they
just a better use of his talents.
And that's not sugarcoating it. That's fact. I mean, I think it is. And it puts a new voice in the new era. So it was more audibly pleasing. It was nice to hear stuffs like the Regal stretch and, references to Bockwinkel and all these things. So it was nice to have the history of professional wrestling be involved again instead of just a television show about or in the world of professional wrestling. So back to the match, though. Decay, of course, gets the victory. Thoughts on that? I don't think it really hurts or anyone.
No, I think them winning is a good thing. I think it makes sense. When they entered, I mentioned to you that I would, seeing the whole Decay thing, I'd like to see Crazy Steve, them add a third or even a fourth member to Decay and give them an actual tag team. Like, add another guy for Crazy Steve to tag with, add another woman for Rosemary to team with, and then they go after both sets of titles. I think that would be really cool. I think Crazy Steve now is really much better than he was even when he was with Abyss. So I think if you bring in another person that you can put in that Decay, I guess, like theme, I think they would be really cool. And I mean, Tennille and Caleb with the K, once again, I don't think it hurts them. It's one of those things where they have to lose that and they don't come out looking bad. It's just who they are. So.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you there completely. I'm a big fan of both of these, and I didn't ever think about that aspect of growing Decay in that way, not just going the traditional, hey, let's add a third person and Rosemary's the manager, and I like that. I like where it's, she has a part, and obviously it seems that especially with the Decay name, that maybe they're moving away from Taya if Taya is leaving, or if she's staying, that they're still moving away from that faction there, or that grouping. It was nice to see the Mist brought in twice. It was nice to see the Zima gimmick with the hairspray, bringing that back. Nice little wink to Zena there. I don't know if it was, but still I'm going to call it that way. I like where we're going. And I like it even more with you saying that. It was a nice little match. Didn't matter who won, not really. Nice for Decay to get it, obviously. But what we'll see a continuous, I guess we could go right into the next match because this is what I'm going to talk about. And Stryker made a great point of it. In an age of branding, VBD, violence by design, is, violent by design is they're telling you what they are, right? And right before that, we had the influencers. We had, Tennille and Caleb with a K, and you knew what they were, and you knew what Rosemary and Decay was. You know what I mean? So it felt like boom, boom, boom. It was branding, building stables, building worlds, and I really dug that. And I really dug the name. I could tell maybe the wasn't right yet. The video package maybe was a newer name, but VBD sounds like VD. Be careful. Make sure there's a B in the middle. But
can
violent by design.
Either one can be equally as destructive.
That's true. And they, speaking of destruction, they look straight from the Capitol rating there, rioting. So I think they have a I don't want to say written in personality, but you could kind of get the vibe of what kind of people they are. They're a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
And they're ready to fuck shit up, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
I dig it.
I liked them. I liked the name. I thought I thought it was good that they got the win. I was a little surprised that they just straight won clean. I thought.
I get the heel thing. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I get the heel thing. But I think when you come out with a name with violent by design, you could win cleanly in that without being.
Yeah, I know. It still just surprised me. I expected something like to me, like, I don't know, just something to where you're doing something to get the win, something dirty. But I mean, they won clean. I thought it was a solid match.
Yeah.
I know you were expecting what's his face Heath to come out or to have some
Yeah,
involvement in the match, which I do agree. I was a little surprised that he just didn't seem to be there. But at the same time, I mean, it's if you're building
he's
towards war
injured.
with these, yeah.
Right. Well, he's injured, and also, why fly him if they can't use him during the tapings? The only reason I was saying he would come out was I think long term, and maybe it was injury, and I'm thinking too much into this, but when Doring and EY attacked, after they attacked Rhino, they went to go attack Heath, and they shut the door, and we didn't see anything. It just went boom, end scene. So I just think there's a possibility there where Heath might be part of this or a bigger cog in it, where he ends up screwing Rhino in the long term there. But I think the right people got the win. I think they got a great look in a very, once again, branding, cohesive unit and mentality. I love what they're doing with him. I wasn't sold on Joe Doring originally. He's still a goofy character, but he seems to be like he can go, and Matt Striker makes me want to see more of him because he keeps saying he's the best kept secret in wrestling. Did it, so it's hyping him up. So they're doing him right. Loved it. We haven't even mentioned a second. I guess at replays probably because I'm about to mention who wrestled. They wrestled, but we didn't mention who they wrestled. And we had Rhino, who was Rhino. Looked like he had the Care Bear outfit on, a new one. That was pretty cool. We had Cousin Jake, who I think is going to be a big deal here. I liked seeing him and Cody clash, or Diener just clash, and kind of put a kibosh on that tandem and just say, no, let's not drag it out of maybe he's going to.
They're done.
I like that. And then Tummy Dreamer. Oh, Lord. Tummy looking big. I don't love it. But, I know people are always iffy on Tommy Dreamer being there, and we joke and whatever. He's that Terry Funk to ECW, or, to us. He's that guy. And can he wrestle a good match without weapons? No. Can he wrestle a good match with weapons? Possibly. But what he gives you behind and in front of the scenes is so different than anyone else could give you. What are you going to, I respect.
I think it's good.
Sorry about the Tummy Dreamer reference. It's cheesy.
Next match was the Knockouts Tag Team Championship. Fire and Flava, Kira Hogan and Tasha Steelz defeated Havoc and Nevaeh.
Yes, let me get that away. First, my first run with Havoc, I was always so, I won't say opinionated. I never thought she was bad. I thought she had potential. I just thought she was green, and when in that around that era she was, and I think she would admit that. She was thrust into that position, but the amount of growth that she has done is phenomenal. And I'm not kissing at this. Is just, she'll probably never see this, but this is fact. I think she's great. I think Nevaeh is great. I think them two together is really good.
Yeah.
They're one little away from making them on the level of Tasha and Kiera, but Tasha and Kiera, man. So with all due respect, that's what I want to say. Tasha and Kiera were my pick for even before the titles were made. They were our pick every broadcast up to now. And I'm so happy for them, man. But when they came out hype as hell with the Fire and Flava logo on their own headbands, you knew they were going to – I felt like they were going to win. You just kind of felt it. But the fact that they did had me ecstatic. And really quick, Hebner. I want you to touch on that too. Brian Hebner making a return after, 4 years as well, of never being or leaving Impact, and coming back after his NWA contract ran up. So welcome back to Brian Hebner. Made it feel like bigger times to me, or a bigger moment.
So I really liked this match. I thought it was really good. I think, Kiera and Tasha winning it made the most sense, because even before they started building these tag teams, and we said they were building them really organically, which we liked, Kiera and Tasha were already teamed up. So it just made sense when we were, before they even announced, the Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champion is coming back, we're like, if they bring it back, these two make sense for your first champion. So it was good that they did the thing that made sense. It was sometimes the obvious choice is the best option. You don't need to go out there and throw a swerve and have, Eric Young dressed as a woman and ODB picking up the first title. Like, you don't need something dumb like that. You just say, hey,
Right.
this is the obvious choice. Let's just run with it. And I think not only do I think they're the right choice, I wouldn't be surprised if they have a pretty long reign to make that first champion seem like a big deal and not just something where they quickly move it around.
Right. And I think that's a great point, and one is going to be one of my next. It felt, and this isn't biased because I will admit I love WWE. When I was a youngster, I still do. I respect it. I wish it nothing but the best, and I tune in from time to time. I follow. I keep updated because it is what it is. But in one match, good yawn. In one match,
Thank you.
They made it feel more important than it has in its whole run in WWE. And that's a testament to everyone buying into it, everyone excited for each other, everyone pushing for the same common goals and impact, which is dope, man. And these knockouts deserve it because I don't care what people say, we have the best women's wrestling locker room in the world. I really believe that. And the fact that we're at a level where this time around we can make those mean something more than they did prior. And it was awesome to see Gail and Madison there, who were prior champions together. With all due respect to them, they have done stuff for Impact and the women's wrestling in general, more than I can even sum up. So it's nothing against them, but this time around, they want to do this right. The belts are beautiful.
Yeah, the belts are phenomenal looking. I love the way the belts look.
They picked the right champions on the first go. They're marketable. I said I said this even before they came with the champions. I put out a post. I'll have to find it just so I can brag for once about being right. I said, you need to bring back the Knockouts championships, give them to Kiera and Tasha, make merch, and just sit back and watch the money roll in. Because these girls are stars. They're money, they're stars. There's nothing more we could say, but Havoc and Nevaeh right there underneath. And I dug the match. It felt important. Hebner being there, his first match back really was cool and felt like a big deal.
I agree completely.
Yeah. I know we're pretty much on the same page with that, but I think it really did make those feel important right away. They did the right thing. That's all that mattered. All right, so next up, we have Ace Austin coming out saying he is a Super X Cup champion, making sure everyone knows that. So that's good to have our future star on the show. And says he wants in on this 3-way X Division match, which is what everyone predicted he would do online. It seemed like that was the buzz. Everyone thought he was going to do that. But Scott D'Amore had other plans for him and gave him to the debuting, for real debuting. Not, he never was an Impact prior. The debuting Matt Cardona, FKA, Zack Ryder, and they made it feel important. He looked to take it seriously, like it wasn't just some, what do you call it? He looked the part. I'm not a huge fan, but I can see why people are. And pretty cool buzz. It was cool to have that little thing on the show that would give people buzz just because, Matt Cardona. But we'll see where it goes. So I know you have. I know you.
So
you want to
here's my thing. WWE does this. So many companies do this where somebody comes out, I want to do an open call out. This obviously wasn't an open call out, and I'm going to do an open call out. And it's like, who's the person who's going to come? And it's like, it's random mid-Carter. I'm like, cool, man. Like, do I like him? I mean, yeah, he's decent. I think he's a good addition to the locker room. I think he has the ability to do some good stuff. But him debuting like this, to me, is just meh. Like, it's just one of those things to where if you're going to be like, hey, this guy's here, he's always ready for a fight, bring back somebody that's been injured. or bring in like a big name that you're like, oh, that's cool. I feel like so often these just mid-card guys are the surprise random match, and I just kind of felt like,
Yeah, because if you're a main eventer, you build to their arrival. If you're
but like, I mean,
guy.
but so many times like these people come in and then they don't do anything with them. It's like, hey, Matt Cardona's here. He beat up Ace Austin, and then in 3 months he's jobbing out to Karate Man on a one night, night only. Like,
watching too much AEW, my friend, because these people don't get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, sure, you can make say Brian Myers maybe, but we just noticed he signed his contract last week, so he was just there on a per date thing, doing his feeling it around. His friend obviously comes in. They have a very popular podcast together. They are both very entertaining. Could they do something together where Myers has kind of been moving around in the shuffle? Or maybe not. Maybe it is just a one-off little pop getter. Who gives a shit? It's not like they said, wait till you see who's coming.
I would rather, if you're going to debut him, you debut him as Brian Myers needs a tag team partner. I know a guy who I can team with, Matt Cardona.
No.
That I would be like, oh, that's really cool. Or Brian Myers is getting beat up by Violent by Design, and Matt Cardona shows up to help him. That would have been cool. Like, I just feel like there's better ways to debut him than Ace Austin being like, I went into the triple threat, and then be like, nope, we got Zack Ryder and his Internet TV Championship, whatever title he held while he was in WWE. Like,
now I see where you're coming from, but I think in a night where everything was great, that's very nitpicky.
I mean, hey,
because one footing you're saying Matt Cardona is the shits, and he's not a main eventer. He's a mid.
I'm not saying he's the
hey man, let's put him in some important storyline. No, he's just some guy who's going to come out and get a cheap pop.
I'm not saying he's the shits, but I'm saying if you with Brian Myers, because they're friends, he's more important than him by himself.
Okay.
Just like example, if let's just say Eddie Edwards was getting beat up and Davey Richards came out and saved him, I'd be like, oh, that's really cool. The Wolves are back together. But if Ace Austin is like, I have an open challenge, and Davey Richards walks out and be like, the fuck? Like, I'd rather see that guy with Eddie Edwards.
You would say, holy shit, that's Davey Richards. The problem here is Matt Cardona. That's the common denominator.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Okay, all right, let's settle on that. But I will say also, Myers is a heel. If he came out to save him, that means he's a heel. But they want to make. I don't know. Anyways, we're giving this guy too much time. It wasn't a match.
Whatever. Next is the triple threat.
No, wait. Tell Ace Austin's line that made you pop.
I don't remember. I forgot.
Scott D'Amore and his theme music. Do you guys?
I did like that. Where he was like, if Scott D'Amore has theme music, hit it. Like, let's bring him out here. I was like, that's funny. I thought that was really funny that he, like, hey, if he's got theme music, let's go. Like, because it is like, especially in like WWE, everybody has theme music. So it's just funny to me that he was like, hey, does this guy have theme music? Like, let's get him out. I found that funny. That was well done.
It was a good line. And with that being said, speaking of theme music, go check out part 1 and 2. I found it, so we don't have to re-record it.
That's good. I'm happy about that. A little disappointed with some of the results, but you know.
Oh, wait till you see this next one. These ones are brutal. Go catch up if you haven't voted and you're watching this now on our TNAIW channel on Twitter. Whoop, dyslexia. At TNAIW channel. And go vote. It's our fall pinfall classic. It's a 64 March Madness type tournament with all the best theme songs as voted by you, the fans of Impact Wrestling. Blah. All right. Next up. So I do want to make one mention before I let you lead into the next one. At this point, I wrote this little note on here, and it says 1 hour and 30 minutes. And I know people say that time flies when you're having fun. But after an hour and 30 minutes, this show felt like I had already watched 3 hours. And that is not, and I
Not in
don't
a
mean
bad
that
way.
not in the bad way. It felt so naturally jam-packed with quality wrestling entertainment. Everything that was going on really, it just, it, well, it didn't fly by, but it went by, and I never felt like they were overstuffing me with shit or
Yeah,
that
no,
they
I
were
agree.
stalling. So, anyways, I want to make a mention of that. All right, but
So,
anyways,
next match, triple threat, Manic defeats Chris Bay and Rohit Raju. 2 nitpicky things with this match. 1, Manic / TJP looks better without the mask. Just go with the face paint.
yes,
Because everybody knows who you are. You don't wear sleeves so they can see your tattoos. So you ain't hiding shit. It's like if CM Punk came walking out there wearing a mask, you're like, bro, that's CM Punk. I know who that is.
that's the
So
point. Let me tell you, I hate Manic. I've always hated Manic. I love TJP. He's too good looking of a kid.
yeah, he's too big of a star to put behind. Like it's different when like it's like a Mexican thing and this is a heritage. Oh, it's Rey Mysterio, it's all this stuff. But Manic was just some guy they created and they're just like, hey,
Right.
go take it. One of the 75 people that have done this, go do it. Like that's
my point to it is I just don't like the mask. I'm just not a big fan of that. But when he took off the mask,
the
I was
face
like,
paint
oh
looks
shit,
good.
it's Pagano Jr. or whatever. The fuck. I mean, it looked badass with it.
Yeah,
and I was
it looks really cool. I really like that. My second minor nitpick is this should have opened the show. And the only reason I say that is because there was a point where Impact I think it was still when it was TNA, would always open their pay-per-views with the X Division matches because it got you pumped because they were so like high energy, high flying, high excitement that you were like, oh shit, that rocked. I'm ready for this pay-per-view. And I really felt like this was a really good match. All 3 of these guys can go. I know putting it at the start sometimes can say, hey, it's not as important, but it's not like it was the co-main event or anything. So I really would have liked this to open the show just because I think it would have given a great energy boost to the entire show.
Oh, it would have been a great energy boost to us, the fans, and I'd be hyped about it. But to the morale backstage of the people that have followed that shit, I think it would be pretty tough. That was a banger of a match. And
I agree.
It's hard to set a pace of top this after something like that. So I get where you're going with, but mostly on pay-per-view, as a TNA historian, I will say this, that most of TNA, they did always have a cruiserweight match, or excuse me, an X Division. Oh, that's blasphemy. X Division match that started the show. But it was never for the title generally. The title match was always held with high esteem, either midway or to the main event.
Yeah, like once Hogan came, they only ever put one X Division match on the card. So that's what I'm saying. This was the X Division match. So, but no, I thought it was a great thing. I thought Chris Bay was going to win. I was a little disappointed with that. But that's just more of me and not necessarily like a negative. Yeah, I mean that dude is he is the HBK of the whatever the name of this generation is called.
Yes,
Mark Madden originally said that about the dude from Ink Inc., right? Wasn't it Jesse Neal? Or Shannon Moore, one of those 2 bums. So to add in the list of dumbass stuff that has come to Mark Madden's mouth, that might be the stupidest thing he's ever said. But
HBK Y2K, Shannon Moore.
Yeah. Yes. Chris Bay, though, he has everything. Like this is
actually on my notes. I really wrote Chris Bay equals Shawn Michaels. Like I have that up.
He's AJ Styles in terms of the ability to be X Division and be your main event person and carry your company. He 100% can do that.
I think they want it to be Ace, or originally thought it was going to be Ace. And this does not take away from Ace. For every AJ Styles, there is a Christopher Daniels or Samoa Joe.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Oh yeah, Ace will definitely be a top star, but I just think Chris Bay is.
Yeah, one day we will have a 5-star match. If not the main event, I'll say that for later. What my actual opinion is on that, and it will probably be Ace versus Rich versus whoever that third man to step up and be the, I guess, Samoa Joe to their two. It's going to be great.
I mean, if you remember, at the height of WWE, they had The Undertaker, they had Steve Austin, they had The Rock, and they had Triple H. So you can have 4 all-star performers. Like, it's not just one that you need. You can have Chris Bay, you can have Ace Austin, you can have all these guys. But I just think
from a talent and scouting and building and developing standpoint, this management team knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Because they realized what they were coming up against, the lack of budget, the lack of everything that everyone else prior had dug them in. And they put us in a position where now we can keep those kids who we've developed to be great. So I hope we see the prophecy is fulfilled and those two stay with us for a very long time. Until Dixie Carter tries to cut their pay in half and they leave us for New Japan. So anyways, so we're talking about that match. You know what? I want to give Rohit credit here. I really, Rohit really wanted to win this match. If you know what I mean. But I really thought at least once in the match for each point that one of them would win. Say what you will about JP being wonderful and Chris Bay being the next this or that. Rohit held his own, and he can.
Yeah, he's good.
So he's good. And he's been in the game for a while. 40 years old. Blows my mind that he's just now being kind of getting the respect.
It's the new 30 in wrestling.
That is true. That is true. Thank God for me. I got some time. All right. So we're gonna go to? We'll go right to Taya and Diaza.
Diaza Pirano. That was.
Oh Lord. Okay, Deonna Purrazzo. Holy Lord. And they both had one had Decay, obviously, and Taya, and then Deonna had the wonderful Kimberly and Karen, but Susan, excuse me, the Susan Karen, Susie's other character, who's just I just get bad. I get it, and it's funny, and she's recording people and telling that she's putting them online. It's good shit. But the look of her just reminds me of this bad. There was the Sarah Palin craze back in the early, I don't know when that was. When did all that happen?
Mid 2000s.
And TNA just decided, hey, we need a Sarah Palin character, and we had I don't know. It just gave me weird vibes. I don't know why. Anyways, it was a match.
Maybe end of 2000. I don't know, whatever.
But it was a good match, and you wouldn't expect anything less from these two ladies. These two wrestlers, excuse me.
Yeah.
Because it was exactly how Matt Striker hyped it up. Say what you will, there'll be namesayers no matter what. Matt Striker made me feel like this match, even if it was a, say, 3-star match, and not to Meltzer, but to us, it was at least a 4 or plus, because everything he says makes these things feel important. And he gave them a good rub on them, but it was a good match on top of that. And that finisher, man. Whew.
Yeah, that was. I like the finish. I really like Deonna Purrazzo. It's interesting because there's certain people that some of them you see leave WWE, and you're like, and then they wrestle in another company. You're like, okay, cool. I understand why you never made it in WWE. Other people leave WWE, and you're like, man, did WWE miss the mark here? And I feel like she is one of those, man, did WWE miss the mark? Like, she's awesome. I really like her character. I was a little surprised when she first won the title because it happened real quick from not long after she had got there. But yeah, but I mean, she's carried it. I think she's great.
Yeah, man. I think she is what everything that Tessa could have been for us, uh, and was for a certain point of time before we took that dipped into the intergender wrestling. Taya, if this was her last match, I'm happy she went out with a bang. It was a great match. It sucks, man. I don't want to believe it, but I love Taya. She is the complete package when it comes. Either way, thank you, Taya. Um, yeah, kind of sucks. All right. And what do we
Next
got?
match was the Karate Man
Okay.
versus Ethan Page. I will say this. At the time that match ended, it was the greatest match of the year.
Okay.
It was the most amazing thing I'd seen in 2021. I absolutely loved every minute of it. I think that it was the perfect, because my favorite line of it is when they were talking about the Karate Man versus Ethan Page, they were like, ignore the fact they both look exactly the same. I'm like, okay, I like that they're acknowledging these are the same two guys. Like, how is this going to happen? It was done really well. It was super Mortal Kombat style. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, rarely do I actually I don't know. I'm just a laugh out loud. Like, I know I laugh on the show, but like deep laugh, like actually have a laugh. It made me laugh a couple times, like pop. And isn't my normal, like, I'd be like, oh, this is the greatest. No, but in the spectrum of what we're watching, it was just short.
It was great.
It was good.
Like, he ripped his heart out. They were breaking out Mortal Kombat moves. It was like I said, at the time it ended, it was the greatest match of 2021. All right, so the next match was Eddie Edwards versus Sami Callahan, Barbed Wire Massacre match.
Yeah, it wasn't the traditional one that we know from the past with LAX and OVE, and way before that, obviously, with Sabu and Abyss, which is the best one so far. I still believe that. It was like a Clockwork Orange House of Fun and Pain match. I don't know. Raven's old match back in the TNA in the day. I like the cage and all these things. They didn't utilize everything, but it was what you expect out of them. It was hard hitting, very stiff stuff, blood, and barbed wire. Yeah, it was cut. Maybe they shouldn't have shot too close to that. But it's sports. I don't care. I want to mention that too. I saw a couple things online where people are like, "Oh, they missed that shot." They, or whatever. It happens. If someone does a fake handoff in football and the NFL on Fox goes, to the run back instead of the quarterback, it is what it is. Shit happens. They don't know. It's not choreographed completely. Let's get that. So it happens. But I digress. So back to it. It was enjoyable. The one thing I will say, Sami's music, they should never have changed Sami's music. I was very disappointed with that. But I'm glad he has his own little logo and stuff. Two complete guys. I don't know how much more not how much more, but in the grand scheme of things, how much more we could say about these two guys, because I feel like we always talk about them, and that's not a bad thing. We talk about them for a reason, and they showed that tonight. It was a solid veteran matchup, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was a good match. I'm not a huge fan the hardcore matches like that. Mostly just because when I see people get thrown into barbed wire, it makes me think about how I would react if I were thrown into barbed wire, and I would have gotten up and walked out. I'd be like, I'm done. You know what? Fuck this. I'm out. Yeah, like, yeah, no, I'm screw this. But no, I thought it was a good match. I think it's one of those matches that I think we've talked about before, that this feud doesn't need a title. So it's a good, I guess, blood feud is the easiest way to say it.
Respect them exchanging the weapons was really cool, because it just shows like we're meant to do this forever. We're Batman and Penguin.
So I thought it was a good match. It's at this point, kind of thinking of pacing of the show. I think it was a good co-main event. It wasn't something super high energy. But it was also something that you were excited to see, that you were like, oh, it's going to be a good story. So I think it was good. It was solid.
Yeah, that's a good analysis of it. I mean, back to whatever, it was maybe not the traditional Barbed Wire Massacre, but logistically it made sense with where it was positioned in the show. They had time to put it together. It was fun. I think you're right. I think it was a nice little memory of, okay, this is Impact. Let's clean our palates. Let's get ready. Main event's next. And good thing that we had that, because the main event was a banger. One more thing though, Kristen looked over and she's like, "What's up with Eddie's hair?" And I said, "It's fucking awesome." That's what I said, because it looks like Nerlens Noel from the New York Knicks. I love it. Eddie, keep doing you. Max, I know you love old Eddie, but
yeah,
go die hard, Eddie. All right. Anyways, it was great. It was fun. And let's go right to that main event, because we how can we not?
By the end of this match, it was the best match of 2021.
There you go. All right. I knew it was coming. Yeah, joking aside, or whatever else, you might be damn right, man. I don't think it'll get 5 stars. I think it'll get maybe 4.95. If that's what
it loses half a star for being an Impact.
Oh, so it's 4.5. Okay, that's fair. 4.5. But you can't deny what that match was. I think we could talk all night about it. And let's try to keep it short, because we got to put this online now. So we'll get to your point, but I do want to say or get your opinion on a couple things. When you look at all of them, they were definitely making this feel like the WCW Bash at the Beach Jam, a run back to that. You got the 3 outsiders invading, and then you had your mainstays of the company that they're invading trying to fight, whatever. It felt important. It looked important. But what I want to know is, did anyone feel out of place to you?
No, I liked that Moose was in it. I thought his addition was really smart, because although it wasn't, Rich Swann in a tag team, like it was Kenny Omega and a tag team. I mean, Moose has been there. It feels like forever at this point. He's the TNA champion, so he's got that going for him. I felt like his addition was really good, and it didn't. Although he was added as kind of a third wheel, he didn't feel like he was just added as a third wheel. It's not like, oh crap, we need a dude who's not wrestling tonight. Moose, get your ass out there and do something. Like, it had a good reason behind why he was in the match, and I liked it.
I'm gonna say this. You hit it on the head, and I don't know if for the same reason I'm about to say it. But I wouldn't be surprised if that was the match from the get-go. Motor City name might have been put on it, but this was the result. Alex Shelley missing 2 pay-per-views in a row for one reason, for another. There's something, an injury still that's not figured, and they had to announce the match, but they couldn't change it in time. There had to have been something along those lines, or maybe nothing at all, because to their credit then, Moose felt like he was meant to be in this match.
Yeah.
I've never felt like anyone was really out of place except one person, and unfortunately that was our world champion, Rich Swann. And the reason being, he was a little timing, he was off a little beat. I don't know, maybe if the magnitude of the match got to him or not. Maybe I'm just looking too much into it. But he just looked so small against such grown men. I mean, even Sabin looked like he dwarfed him. I mean, and that was my only concern, was that I felt you had the Good Brothers and Kenny, who is just fucking Kenny Omega. And then you have Moose, who's a giant himself, Sabin, who's a legend, and then you had Rich. I don't know if Rich really felt like he was, I don't know, is that too harsh of a, I love Rich, let's get that, I just don't know if he's,
holy shit, he's 5'8". Yeah, I mean, I didn't think, yeah, I mean, wow, that is small. I felt like he looked like he belonged. I wasn't something to where he looked small, but I never felt like he was like, oh, I can't go with these guys. Like, I didn't think that. But I do agree that he looks small, but I don't think that's an issue. If this was 20 years ago, yeah, the small guy is going to feel out of place. But I think now, you've seen what, 3'2" Rey Mysterio take on the Undertaker, like it's or the like take. So and granted, I know he's not that, but I didn't feel like he was super out of place with it. Kenny Omega, although he's tall, he's listed as 6 feet, but he's not like massive. Like I didn't think that it was so bad. I thought he was fine. That's just me.
I love Rich. It's just it's. I just think in the grand scheme, I don't know. When you look back, I don't know. Maybe it's just in my head.
Yeah.
It is going. He could go with the best of them. I think him versus Kenny would be a great match. Even though I told you, I think Kenny versus Moose would surprisingly be a wonderful match.
Kenny versus Moose would be the lack of a 450 in Kenny versus Moose would probably bring it down to just a 4-star with me. But maybe Kenny breaks out a 450. Who knows?
Rich hit one, so he should be your favorite wrestler now.
That's true. He's up there.
I really Moose with a standing moonsault. Moose is getting on top of his game. I know he's the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, but bro, that needs to be our champion eventually.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think so. The interesting thing about this, with Rich Swann losing the way he did, I think it builds to whether it's Moose or somebody else beating him and taking that title. Because my original thought of this is it ended one of 3 ways. It either ends with Rich Swann pinning one of the Good Brothers, because then Kenny Omega says, you didn't really beat me, you beat one of them.
Right.
It ends with like Kenny Omega hitting him with the AEW belt and pinning him. Or it ends with a run-in and you get like a New Japan AEW Impact. I didn't envision them just straight, like Kenny just hitting one winged angel, just pinning Rich Swann. Like that to me was the most surprising thing. I'm okay with the ending, but I think the fact that he lost the way he did sets up for the possibility of Moose being like, no, I'm the real champion. I'm going to prove it. I'm going to beat you, and I'll take on Kenny Omega.
Yeah, no, that's fair assessment there. It's just I don't think it's odd booking. I just think that there's so many moving pieces. Someone had to eat it, and you need to set up for the next thing. And it once again is the champion was pinned by their champion. And I was telling Chris, or maybe I was telling you, I don't know. I said it out loud. What would AEW be getting out of this if Kenny Omega was pinned, right? Like, why would Kenny Omega come all this, give us all this?
I didn't think Kenny would eat the pin.
No, and nor would he were that team lose. I just they have the Good Brother gear on. I don't know what that leads to. I don't know if it's legit, but it's an interesting time in professional wrestling, and this was a great pay-per-view.
This is eventually leading to the Tonys going through a table. That's the only way. Like,
I would hope
Moose
so.
Just power bombing the Tonys right through a table. That's where the grand culmination of this whole thing.
I'm about it. All right. So let's go real quick. We'll do our little questions at the end, and then we'll call it a night so we can get this up in time. What favorite match? What's your favorite match tonight?
Outside of the Karate Man versus Ethan Page, I'm gonna go with the X Division. Manic Chris Bay and Rahit Raju. I really like that match.
It was that was a good match, man. It was, but I gotta go with the main event. I'll split the difference.
Yeah, I can agree with that. The main event was really good.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with that there. What would you say the least or your biggest surprise was? Was it the eating the pin there?
Biggest surprise, it's just Rich Swann just eating the pin clean. Once again, I don't think it's a bad thing. It's just surprise. I didn't expect it. It's the one outcome that I would not, just him eating it like that, I just would not have expected.
Yeah, for me, I didn't think Matt Cardona would have came out just because the match up there is odd. I mean, I guess, whatever. We talked about that. But I think the biggest surprise for me is that it ended the way it did. Now, the match was wonderful. And like I said to you, I was like, oh, man, did you watch the match? The match was great. But I agree. I think maybe once again, it's us putting it into our own heads. But I thought there'd be something more there, and unfortunately, there was not. But it was a great match, and why put more when you have a masterpiece already painted, right?
Can you imagine flipping? As much as awesome as Rich Swann is, can you imagine flipping Rich Swann and Chris Bay and Chris Bay being in that match against Kenny
What?
Omega? Like, I think that would have been. I know he's not the champion. I'm just saying, like, seeing Chris Bay against Kenny Omega, I think that would be a match that would be phenomenal.
You would be more hyped about that than you would be Swan versus.
Yeah,
Omega?
I know the Chris Bay thing is probably a ways down the road, but if somehow they can figure out a way to get Chris Bay versus Kenny Omega, I think that'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm about it. I think anyone versus Kenny Omega is kind of everyone, no matter if you're a hater, a WWE guy, a AEW, in between.
I'm still waiting for AJ to come back and take his revenge after Kenny beat him out of the Bullet Club.
Time, my friend, it's coming. Until then, we have AJ Swoggle, and
hey, I'll take that too.
As long as we hear the music.
Did he do the springboard 450? Has he tried it yet?
Yeah.
it's off the bottom rope.
Yeah, I don't think that physics that works on that. All right, guys. It was fun. Sorry it wasn't live. Like we said, we're going to be honest with you. We'll get it going, and best wishes to our producer, our friend from across the pond, Craig, Mr. Impact Blog. Get well soon. And we'll go live from there. Stay tuned. We will have a new unboxing next week, finally coming up, as well as the winner of our crates unboxing. And it was a pretty cool get for her. But you'll get to see that coming soon, and Hard 10 game show coming back as well. Shout out to Big LG. Thank you. And thank you, Impact Wrestling. Max, got anything?
No, thanks everybody. Once again, I think it was a solid pay-per-view. I mean, that's the important thing. They continue to put on solid pay-per-views every time they go. They're not always A pluses, but they're never. Man, I wish I wouldn't have spent my money on that. They're always good.
I do want to get that for you. I would say that too. I would say Impact, even if you hate it, you have to admit that even their worst pay-per-view since this era, it's better than a lot of other places. It's consistently
better than
decent.
Jeff Hardy versus Sting.
I agree. What is your rating for this? F through A plus.
I give it a B plus.
I was gonna go A minus, and the only reason is I think they've had a lot of B pluses, but that main event, the X Division match, and the production made me feel like, okay, we're on to that next thing. Plus, you get a little extra for Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
All right. See you next time, guys. Thank you. Goodbye.
Later, guys.
And good night.